we step into the next level. Timeless game every day of the week. Could tell you how to level up your spirit and be success driven and mind strong. Get your finances right, get your grind on. You know there's power in the story. Tune in, this the Valor of the true man. Success blueprint.
Welcome back, everyone, to Success Blueprint. I'm Jaime, the financial enabler. I got Mike, the man of valor, and we're going to continue on with the Builder series. We're going right into resilience today. Obviously, we had a little break in it. We had that conversation we had when we were in Colombia. So we're going to go into resilience, and resilience is one of my favorite things. As I think about my career and reading the Bible, it's always a constant conversation on suffering, right? How we have to suffer, we have to endure, we have to suffer, and through suffering, we must endure. So one of the things is, I'm gonna take advantage of this before Mike goes. I want to share my favorite verse right now, as something that I ponder a lot. And I'm gonna give you guys this. It's from Isaiah 30:20, but it has to be from the New Living Translation. Obviously, that plays a role in it. So I'm going to give you guys this because it's pretty good. In Isaiah 30:20, it says, though the Lord gave you adversity for food and suffering for drink, he will still be with you to teach you. You will see your teacher with your own eyes. So it's in the Bible, guys. We are not going to avoid suffering. We're not going to avoid adversity. You can't. Therefore, you must be resilient. Whatever systems you have for resilience are key. So that's one of the big parts of how you build up to be that person. I went real quick with that one, Mike. What are your initial thoughts with resilience?
It's my favorite, right? Because it's for me, it's a conundrum. It's like, I like it, but I hate it at the same time. Like I say, man, I have to push. I got to go through and being resilient. And I was reading this book called The Resolute Man, right? Which is really good. And it just made me want to be like, no matter what I'm going through, I can handle it, right? I can push through. I can endure. I can persevere. I can make it happen. I can stay with it. So resilience is probably one of my favorite things to do, but I love to hate it and hate to love it, if that makes sense. So that's my first thoughts on it, on resilience. And I'm a big fan. You read that in Isaiah. I'm a big fan of James, where it talks about let patience have a perfect work that you may be perfect and entire and wanting nothing, right? And that perfect work that I'm trying to have is that I got to be patient. I got to persevere. So my character, my mentality, all of the things can be developed in this space. And it takes resilience to be able to do that, because things are not going to go the way you think they should go. They're not going to go ideally in most cases. You're going to come against some stuff. So I love that, right? Which is super good. So as we dive into this, bro, let me ask you this. And I've recently been thinking about it for myself. Like, what do I do? What do you do when things stop working?
Oh man, when things stop working, I realized that when things stop working, when you've been in a path to success, it becomes pretty obvious how people fall apart. You know, when you're like, oh man, this is really bad. I need to get off this train. This sucks. Why would I be here? And I realized that that's the mental toughness aspect, the resilience, that it's like, okay, this is terrible. I don't like it. I'm not doing well. My numbers aren't good. I'm not performing. So what I realized that I need to do, the first thing is that I need to reframe, why am I there? Why am I there? Why is it sucking? Why am I suffering? So that way it's not the whole idea of like, I can choose to see that as a building moment. Now, it doesn't take away that it's terrible. It doesn't take away that it's painful. It doesn't take away that I'm not doing well. But in that moment, it's like what I need to. So I realize that we really have to think about it. And I've been sharing this with a lot of people. So we almost have to put on a literal thinking cap. So you got to think about what you're dealing with right now and think about the reframe in a very intentional way. So I think that's normally where I start, and I realize then I try to fall back on my systems, right? Like what have I done that it works? You know, what habits? So that's normally where I start with that. How about you?
Yeah, it's a muscle memory thing for me. So I immediately, when things aren't working, I immediately self-reflect. Like immediately, I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm an ownership type guy, and I don't want to cast this way. It's easy for me. So we know personality traits. I'm a rebel, right? It's easy for me to blame very quickly. Well, this isn't happening because of such and such and such. And I usually want to blame outside. So for me, I'm very, very conscious about it. And I self reflect quickly.
Mhm.
What did I do? What am I doing? Where am I at? What do I need to do? I hate my numbers right now. It's not happening the way I thought it should or the way I want it to, which is, it's rare that it's ever going to happen anyway. When we get one number, we're always pushing for the next anyway, right? However, when it's not working, I start self reflecting. Then I get into action mode. And like you said, fall into the systems. I'm like, all right, cool. This is where I fell short. Let me go back and do the thing that I was supposed to do before that and continue doing the thing that I know I'm supposed to do for it to work. So
Yeah.
for me to get to the next place. So that's immediately what I do. Self-reflection is like foremost for me.
Do you feel that you're obviously everybody responds to results being low, to failure, but do you notice a value of the speed at which people recover? Like I'm thinking about it kind of like in military and medical, right? The golden hour, right? If you recover, if you choose to get a positive within the first whatever time it may be, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, hour, day, it's considerably better than delaying it. So
Mhm.
do you feel you're pretty good about that reframe in a short period of time? And do you see a difference with the people that take longer for that
Yeah.
reframe?
Yeah, absolutely. I I move like I try to grow fast, right? I try to
Mhm,
move through things fast. You're familiar, you're Brandon Bouchard guy, right? Brandon Bouchard talks about that when you hit that valley, try to make it come out of it quicker. So I'm
mhm,
always like, last time it took me 10 minutes to get out of this. So it's gonna be less than 10. I'm gonna try to get it in 8 to get out of it, or 3 minutes to get out of it, 2 minutes or one. Like, how can I move faster and faster through those peaks? And through those valleys so I can not just get back to the where I was, but get to above. And I
mhm,
want to strive for the next thing. And then because we're always strive to the next thing, you're gonna go through a valley again. And then how long can I be here to push up? So I see the results there. A lot of people, in my opinion, that struggle with moving forward stay in a valley too long. And we're by nature we're results driven.
right.
Or nature, that's this nature. Like, it's like, hey man, I didn't put this effort in and it's not happening and whatever. However, I am getting better and better daily at not worrying about the results more so than my effort. I
Mhm,
put the effort in. The numbers are going to be the numbers. The ratios are going to be the ratios. It's going to balance out. As you get better, you're going to have better and better ratios. However, it doesn't matter what the results are now. Am I doing the work? And usually I'm more reflective when I'm not doing the work, hoping I get better, get results. Right.
mhm,
All right, man, I only did 5 instead of 10 like I'm supposed to, and I'm
right,
mad that the 5 ain't work. And
right.
that's just not how it works anyway. When I do the 10 like I'm supposed to and none of it works, it doesn't really matter. The next time I do the 10, instead of it being 3, it's gonna be 6, right?
Mhm,
Or whatever the case, the numbers are just gonna be the numbers, right?
yeah.
The ratio is gonna come. So there are how I respond when numbers are low are really just based on my efforts versus the result, right? It came from it.
And can you think of a moment that you had no results and no results for a while, but then all of a sudden there were great results because you stuck with a system? And what was that circumstance?
Yeah, 100%, especially in our business. All right, it happened. And in the military, it happened, believe it or
Mhm,
not, very, very often with the job I did, right? So, military intelligence guy, right? So, sometimes we get stuff, and obviously, I can't reveal all the stuff I did, but sometimes we get stuff and I'm working, 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 working. It's like, dang, it's not working. No results are happening. It's supposed to be good. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 and it just hits, 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 and everything that's coming from it is amazing, right? Or helping and saving lives or changing this thing and all of those things. So that happened a lot. I've seen it in the church community being a youth pastor.
mhm,
Started out with with 10 kids, right? Like 10 kids in our youth group, and then literally, we're putting in the work, talking to people, doing what we got to do. Then 3 months in, we got 5 more. Then next month, all of a sudden went from 15 to 60. And
mm,
the results just came and it just came faster and faster and then started doing the thing. So it was more so about my efforts in those first 3 months. And we say this, I've heard Ed Milet say the way things goes in 90-day cycles. If you're having really great results right now, it's because the previous 90 days you had great things happen. Right. And then the next 90 days, you're like, oh, shoot, you're having terrible results. It's because of what you did the 90 days before that. Right.
yeah.
So I believe that that happens, and again, it evens out. So long as I do my best to keep my cycles the same and my reps the same. And when they're not, like we heard the other night, like some with who was talking on that video we played the other morning, where
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forget who the guy's name, but yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
he was talking. He was like, if you're supposed to get 5 this week and you only get 3, most people will be happy with 3, and the next week don't make up the 2. So if I'm supposed to get 5 this week and I only got 3, then the next week I need to get 7 to
Hmm.
get back to where I was, and most of us don't do that, right?
Right.
So that matters a whole lot to me. And so the question I'll ask you when it comes to that, because I'm sure you had similar experience in that. What did your first failure actually teach you when you're searching for results, when you're so low and you're like, man, I didn't get what I wanted to get? What did that teach you in the process?
I think that for me a big one is divorce,
Mm,
right? So it was my first big low, and I realized looking back on it, because I've been divorced twice, that I stayed in the low for so long that I was just hurting myself. I was delaying every progress. I was delaying every result. And I realize now that it was unnecessary. I didn't have to do that. And it's like maybe it was woe is me, maybe whatever it is, right? Being young, whatever it was. But I realized that in that moment of failure, I chose to delay it and suffer through it, which is okay. Like God gives us our challenges, but I chose that one. My second divorce, I got out of it so fast that it was just like, bam, I'm out of this. Like, and I remember like literally days after I felt that this thing was going to be final, I was like, I need to change. And I went and sought this resource, the support, and I was like, I was out of it so fast. So I realized that to me is the key thing was that how quickly I did it and how unnecessary it is for us to drag out on the negative stuff.
yeah, I like that. And it sounds to me like the second time around, you actually changed your environment too.
Totally.
Why,
Mhm.
why did that help you stay resolute, move faster through it? How did that help you?
It helped because I was able to be around actually, and now I thought it was the environment that we're thinking, but I've mentioned it before that YouTube, that podcast that I was listening to, and then I went and saw that coach, and it put me in an environment that I started creating my bubble to hear from a coach that has dealt with this so much. And I felt so empowered that I was like, I'm getting out of this. This is going to be a piece of cake. So I had to, because I realized the books weren't going to do it on my own. I needed to talk to people. The podcast wasn't going to do it alone. I paid for the coaching. Most people don't pay for the coaching. Most people don't pay for the whatever, right? Everybody's just trying to get to the bottom, right? The cheapest they can make it. And that change to me was unreal. And that allowed me to accelerate everything. And now I have a great relationship that I can totally attribute to those initial stages of recovering from that failure. And even in the military, my military failures, I was choosing to get out of it and not only make the best of it, but it was like, okay, I had the terrible failure. How do I not relive this, but learn something from it? So that was big for me. How about you? What was an experience that you had that failure and how you dealt with it?
Yeah. Divorce as well. Right. Well, I've been divorced before. Didn't even think it was ever going to happen. And I'll tell you in that for going through it, like I lost myself for like 3 months, like
Mhm.
completely went from, I'm not, I was never really a super promiscuous guy out here sleeping whatever, everything. I know guys can, according to the world, can do whatever. I just never was that guy. And then when going through a divorce turned into that, right? Like just went crazy and just started hoeing out for lack of better terms, you know what I mean? But I had to change my environment. I had to change some stuff. And I was like, man, this is terrible place. And for me to move from that, I needed to get out of where I was. I was in a whole nother country at the time, got back home, and then I went through a period of abstinence
Mm.
and diving into, and I lost myself. And man, who did God say that I was, and what was I created to be, and what kind of relationship do I really want? And I had to heal from that insecurity that come along with it, like failure here, and growing up in a home where my parents are still been together forever and not divorced. Right. So I'm like, good Lord, did I fail in that? Of my siblings, I'm the only one that's been through a divorce. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So all of the things I had to deal with and say, and this doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It just means that this didn't work and I can grow through it, which drastically in my relationship with Candace. In our marriage of 17 years, now, and it's been amazing because it put some things in perspective, and I got to grow through that. In other ways, other failed businesses,
Mm.
realizing that it's not, I don't have to stay down. That just because that didn't work doesn't mean that I'm a failure. I did I in your own in our opinion, what do we say? You're only a failure when you quit.
Yeah.
And you're only a failure if you're not learning. First attempt in learning, right? As long as I'm not repeating that mistake, then it get through it fast. So for me, changing that environment, like you said, getting the coaching, being around other people that have been through that or know what to do to pull us out. And I wasn't looking for one person in particular to have all the answers for me or whatever the case may be. I went and did the research. I went and read books. I sought God. I got spiritual counseling. I went, you know what I mean? All those things to be able to help. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I am that. Just because I've been through this, that doesn't define my life. And a lot of times I think we allow those failures to define who we are and define our lives completely. And I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So,
And
yeah.
I think that that's totally agree with that. And I wanted to, with the resilience, because I know that I'm asking this question because it's a trend in the military more than anywhere, not more than everywhere. We just accept it as a good thing when it's not. Why do we complain so much about everything? And in the military, it's like, I'm just a complainer, and it's like it's cool. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. And to your point, it's not just the military, it's just what we know.
Mhm.
Right. I come across people all the day. Like, why do we complain? I think, and this is just my opinion, I think people complain to justify how they feel, so they can feel good about a place so they don't have to grow. So they don't have to take responsibility for their own feelings, emotions, emotional intelligence, all of the things, the EQ, right? Emotional intelligence, EQ, all of that. I think we complain because we want to feel validated in the injustice that we feel in our emotions about what
Mm.
happened. So that's my humble opinion. What do you think?
And how people go to others hoping that somebody just says, "I agree with you."
Mm,
This does in fact suck. And it's kind of like what is it that we heard is like, people at your same level will throw you sideways,
yeah.
right? And it's like, why are we seeking that when it's not helping us? But if somebody we spoke with somebody of a higher identity or somebody we admire, they probably more than likely they wouldn't validate that excuse, right? Or that complaint. So I think that's something I've been thinking of, like how quickly we choose to say complaining is okay or complaining is good. When to this day I cannot find of a single circumstance that complaining was a net positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. And I think the same goes with withdrawing, right? I'm upset. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm running from it. Like you become a runner, right? You
Yeah.
become the person that doesn't want to deal with anything head on. And really, in my opinion, we don't want to deal with us head on. Well, I don't want to deal with my emotions about this because I feel like I should be able to be okay there. And the truth is, your feeling is justifiable. It's how
Mm.
you feel. That's okay. But does it help us stay resilient and get to whatever level we're trying to get to? We're building something here, whether it's a family, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's your career, whether it's you name it, right? Relationship with your kids, with a potential spouse. You're building something here. You have to grow. Bob Proctor says, if you don't like the results you're getting, you can only blame you. You got to change. So that's the hard part about this. So you can't complain, you can't withdraw through the whole thing. So there's really only one other option. And there's a lot of people that say this all the time. I've heard this recently from a few people. It's like, I don't think I have what it takes to fight anymore. I don't think I have what it takes to push. Like, I don't know what it looks like. Like, how do I just stay the course? How do I keep doing it? And it's as simple
Mm.
as staying in it no matter what. In my opinion, you tell me, what are your thoughts here? You don't have to do it every day. You only have to do it one day at a time.
I think that we get on this race to be successful, to achieve everything, and we create an unnecessary mountain, right? It's like, oh man, I can't climb my Mount Everest. It's like, oh man, I just no way I can climb Mount Everest. It's so big. But I know for a fact every single person can take a step. And we're so wrapped around it. And I mean, it's so interesting as we talk about this. Is like, it's like, oh yeah, of course, that sounds pretty basic. It is basic, but it's hard when you have the mountain and you have this big goal and you have to reframe it to just a step. You have to reframe it to just put on your bag and take a step, take another step and a step. That's how you do it day by day. It's so funny, these analogies that feel like they're bland, but they have so much depth. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that we got to all get better at, and how we take the day to day as our win. Now, I don't I want to talk a little bit about resilience and burnout. I don't believe in burnout largely because of one of my best mentors in the military. He's like, I don't believe in burnout. I've just been grinding and doing all these things. And he is an amazing man, and I truly respect him. He owned up to that. He just stayed on task. So I want to ask you, do you believe in burnout? And if you or sorry, and for the people that do, let me back up. I don't believe in burnout. I believe people choose it. The people
Okay.
that choose the burnout, what do you think causes it?
A lack of vision, lack of inspiration, lack of passion. I think a lot of us are looking at where we are today versus where we're going. That's where burnout comes. It's easy when the results aren't happening. I'm looking at right now versus no. I said I wanted a spouse for life, but they're getting on my nerves right now.
Mhm.
Where I'm tired of them because they don't do what I want them to do, or it's not going the way I thought it to go. Or man, I thought I was raising these kids to go be professional athletes or whatever, or do this or that. And guess what? They don't want to wake up in the morning to go work out. They're not really taking it serious. They're taking it for granted. I thought I was trying to do this thing in my career, and they told me if I get this next certification, and man, I just got passed up for promotion. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm burnt out. I'm so tired because I put all this effort into this, and now, well, it's because you're looking at the right now versus looking at where you're going,
Yeah,
right? Looking at where you're going to become. So burnout, it definitely is a choice, and I think we confuse tired with burnout. Personally, you
yeah,
might be emotionally drained. Sure, go take a nap, right? Get some rest, eat some food, drink some water, visualize your dreams and goals again, get excited about them again. Absolutely. We all have that, right? That's going to happen. But choosing to be burnt out on something that you say you're passionate about, that means you're not really passionate about it. And you're only focused on the now versus on where we're going.
yeah,
Resilience is vital because you don't get anywhere without pushing through. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it.
sure. And you just said something interesting of how we look at a spouse, and I thought of this because you just said of how we can do one thing like a day to day, right? And I realized like a spouse, they're getting on my nerves. They are annoying. But what if we saw it as my spouse is annoying right now? I mean, our girls, they're incredible. We love them, but they are in fact annoying right now. We are annoying right now. Like we do it all the time. But that doesn't take away their how great they are, their beauty, the quality of woman they are. But again, we're human, and if we just saw it as like, oh my God, I feel like strangling this person. They're being really, really annoying right now. And odds are tomorrow we'll find the good thing, you know? It's like the other perspectives that they can be where there's dark, so there can only be darkness if there's light. They can only be good if there's bad. Because if there's no bad, there's no good, right? So the people that are annoying, they have a good and it's coming. Yeah, that's it. And I know that you're big on your faith. How do you use your faith when it comes to whether scripture, Bible, scripture, worship, prayer? How do you use it? What are some practical things that somebody that wants to become more resilient can do to become resilient with their faith? How do
Yeah.
they use the faith?
Yeah. So for me, I actually use it because I'm not relying on my strength to do the things that I need to do. And I do my best. So all of us have a purpose in life that we're supposed to fulfill, right? That we're here for. And then we have the choice whether or not how we walk that thing out.
Mhm.
Destiny is our choice and how we walk it out. You can affect people in a positive way, whether that means you're in prison affecting them or you're out free affecting them, right? However you choose to walk out that purpose based on the choices you make, you can still live that. How I use it is one, when I'm looking for resilience, I'm not relying on my own strength. I know that there is a God. For me, it's the Holy Spirit that I can lean on, who's the strength that I need. So I'm not doing all things in my power, in my energy, in my, you know what I'm saying, on my own intellect, and then I can move through those things. When I'm feeling down, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I go to the Bible to tell me who I am. And it remind me of who I am, what God says I am. He says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, right? In his image. You know, I am the head, not the tail, above and not beneath. I'm the lender and not the borrower. I am a royal priesthood, a holy nation. And those things there empower me to say, this moment that I am feeling down does not define who I am. God doesn't see me this way. He sees me as his workmanship, as his perfect piece of art that he's made. And I'm made in his image with my ability and the same abilities that he has to create. So I can go create the life that I want to live. It doesn't mean it's gonna go the way I want it to go, like abracadabra. This is not a magic show. Okay. Life isn't like that. So I use it that way. And when I am feeling down and I'm feeling it like it's not working, and I'm like, good Lord, what is happening, Lord? I know you gave me this as a passion, as a destiny, as a purpose, as a thing that I'm supposed to pursue and help people. I have to be reminded that it's on his strength and not mine. So then there's times where I'm like, all right, I can reflect on, did I do what I was supposed to do? And if I did, it's not about the results. It's about, did I put the effort in? It's who I become in the process. Through it all is what helps me. And it's like, man, Lord, I'm getting closer to you. God, I'm getting closer to you. And I'm becoming stronger and a more representation of Christ, a more representation of what good looks like and helping people and those things. So that's how I lean on God in all of those things. When I'm frustrated in a mug with friends, with people, with business, whatever the thing is, I'm like, all right, God, obviously. And we tell people all the time, especially for church folks and people in ministry would be easy if people weren't there. Super simple. Same with business. Business would be way easier if we didn't have to deal with people. What we do, right? And we're a part of that because we're people. No fault to any human being, but that's how I use it. I'm prayerful. I'm mindful of his voice and what he's saying to me. I lean on the Holy Spirit. I lean on his love. I can only give other people what I've already received. So in those cases when results aren't happening, I'm like, all right, Lord, I'm relying on you, right? I'm leaning on you. What should I do? How should I move? How should I be feeling? And when I'm not feeling the way that he says that I'm supposed to feel, I go read what he says about me, right? And that's what I do. What about you?
I I've been a simple one that I try to do, and maybe this is my pragmatic view I'm trying to apply, is that we've already won. It's already done. Like there's nothing that can happen in this life that would cause me to lose. I already won, right? I'm taken care of. The promise is already there. Doesn't matter whether you and I make millions or we make $1. We already won at the end of it. Doesn't matter how frustrating life is, we already won. And our resilience, you sent that video from Key and Peele's like when they're trapped, it was like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. And it's like that. I think if we attach that on the faith side, you've already won. So for people that don't have a faith, once you have your faith, especially I'm speaking in a Christian lens, once you have that, you've already won. It doesn't matter. Your life doesn't matter how bad it is, you've already won. And that is something that I'm gonna give you guys kind of in the closing, is that look at what systems you have to overcome it and how you got to think of. Again, I am not any less alive, but I've already accepted the winning. That's how I got to think about it, right? So pick the problem that you have this week and apply that perspective. I've already won. Doesn't matter. Can I fix now to make my life more enjoyable? But that's it. Don't quit on it. So think about it in how you've already won. Think about how much faster you can address it, and then you'll start finding the joy with it. So two simple things. Again, think that you've already won, and think about the speed of overcoming their circumstance. Do you have any final actionable thing that somebody could apply with this topic?
Yeah, I would tell you ask yourself, what does staying in the fight look like for you right now? What does that look like when I need to just push through and make another phone call? When I need to push through and make the phone call to your family or whatever? When you need to push through and say, you know what? I'm not perfect either, and I want this relationship to work, and I see good things, but right now it's frustrated. We're just not aligned, and we got to what is the one thing that you can do right now to say, I'm staying the course? And then the last one is something that our mentor tells us: never make a decision when you're down.
Never. Yeah.
Quit whenever you want to, but you only quit when you're up. If you want to quit only when you're feeling great, when things are going well, when you're at a high emotional intelligence, when your energy's up, your love is up, the passion's that, then quit. But if you're down, you never make a decision when you're down. So that's the final thing that I would tell people in this moment.
Cool. So guys, to give you some practical things, if you're married, you can go tell your wife that she's annoying right now. But again, as you tell her that, remember that you're doing the same thing. You got to own it. So give her some love that she's just right now, and you're going to have a great weekend. With that, guys, we're recording this on Good Friday. Happy Easter. I know you're probably going to hear this way later, but hope you guys had a great time. And this is it for this one, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right.